I remember I was about 7 years old when I had the chance to perform in front of the entire school for the first time. I was so excited because as a young girl, I used to watch a lot of performing arts, sing, dance, and I loved it and I can't wait. But I remember it was the moment when we all lining up on that stage, something just hit me and I felt like paralyzed. Suddenly I couldn't move and I kept on and I looked down. I locked eyes with some of the adults, and I couldn't move at all, and I started to tremble and I knew I had to get down from that stage, so I ran off to the from the stage. I went right to my mom and I hugged her, and the teacher motioned for me to come back onto the stage, but I would not do that at all. And so I just stood there, hugged my mom, and waited until my entire class performed. And at the end, everyone gave a standing ovation. And I started now bursting out crying. And I remember I was crying because I was really feeling down on myself. I regretted it in my head. I was like, "My, you missed your chance to dance and sing with your classmates. Why did you get so scared? Why did you run off?" I felt embarrassed, right? And I remember that memory so vividly, especially any time in the future where I had to stand in front of the public or when I had to perform. And that stage fright moment, I held on to it for a while. So fast forward into my high school years, I would skip a lot of opportunities to run for student body just due to this fear of speaking publicly. So one day, finally, I remember that I was in university and I was given a CD by Anthony Robbins where he shared his stories, how he wasn't born with any public speaking skills, but instead what he decided to do was he wanted to become a great speaker. So he would start booking these speaking engagements one after another. So a regular speaker would speak, let's say once a week. He would have a few times a day where he is just engaging in conversation or speaking publicly, whether they were free or paid, it didn't matter. The goal was that he would do it and practice it more than anybody else, and whether he failed at it or sucked at it, it didn't matter, because as long as he was willing to practice, he knew he would get better. And that's when I had this aha moment. And since then, I've taken it upon myself to challenge myself and embrace all opportunities that allow myself to embrace my voice and practice my voice. And eventually, it led me to starting to perform back and going back on stage. And I noticed that I would really light up and I love it. I just had to eventually found a way to get back there, all the way to eventually getting over my fear. I mean, I said get over my fear, but I always have this nervousness before I go on stage. I'm always, I have these butterflies, but I don't let them stop me, right? So eventually led me to even getting gigs as a paid master of ceremony. And the biggest audience that I was able to perform in front was about 10,000 people. And many more rewarding experiences, such as sharing my stories in front of other entrepreneurs and youth. So as you can see, right, my journey to public speaking didn't always stem from me wanting to perform. I had a stage fright and I had this fear, but that fear got me so embarrassed and I regretted it so much that it forced me to take the actions to get over those fears. So I don't know what your journey is like when it comes to public speaking, but I'm sure you had a story, because public speaking is one of those top fears out there, and I'm sure you had a story related to your experience with public speaking. And I'm sure you also have tons of stories related to any challenges, any fear, any struggles that you've had in your life, as well as the choices that you have made to overcome those challenges, right? And quite frankly, now I feel that those stories are so amazing, they're so powerful, and they're stories that need to be shared so that we can all learn from each other. And quite frankly, I have presented and spoken in front of the public for quite a while now, but generally it's in a very professional setting, or I'm doing a presentation, or I'm a master of ceremony for events. And I realize though, while I'm comfortable with public speaking, there's another aspect of it that I haven't done a lot, and that is sharing publicly my personal stories that are, that intertwined into my being, made who I am, and sometimes get me quite emotional. Until recently, when I've taken a course called Public Narrative with a few coaches from the Inspire Leadership School. And through that course, I learned to create a story of myself, and a story of us, and a story of now. And it's been broken up into 3 different courses. But since taking that, I now see the true power of really sharing our stories. So public narrative is really the art of telling stories that inspire and motivate people to work collectively towards a common goal, right? And this is a skill that we can use throughout our entire life in both professional and personal settings. I strongly believed it. I just share with you a personal story of why, public speaking was not natural to me, but I made a choice and I overcame that. And I hope that for those of you who are also, afraid or have a fear of public speaking, can, look back in those moments and said, you know what, I'm no longer that little girl. That little girl cannot hold me back. I'm no longer that little boy. That little boy cannot hold me back. I need to do what I need to do to move on past that. And I hope that my story can be an inspiration for you. But I also know you have lots of stories that can be an inspiration to many others that are going through some similar challenges. But if you're uncomfortable, if you don't know how to utilize these stories in, how to utilize this story, I strongly suggest you checking out the Public Narrative program, the Public Narrative course that is offered by Inspire Leadership School. I will be participating in the next sessions, which starts in June. I believe the first class will start on June 4th. I will be sharing more information about the classes, but if you're interested, then let me know, and I can definitely help you to get signed up, get registered, and join us. I'll be joining as well too. So I look forward for all of us to come together, learn this amazing skill of telling stories to inspire and motivate others, and to help change the world one story at a time.